Hello and welcome. Let's talk. Now there is a phrase that has struck terror into many hearts. But don't worry, this is not going to be one of those conversations. Rather, it's going to be me saying goodbye to Tavi. But before I tell you that story, I need to tell you another story. Going back to 2017, my sister that summer did her first ever triathlon, and I went to cheer her on, and as a result of that, I was inspired to take up cycling again. Now at the time, I had a 1990 Univega 10-speed drop bar road bike and my 1994 LL Bean Approach rigid mountain bike, which I had bought new incidentally. And I had ridden that mountain bike for many years, and then my interest went in different directions, and both of those bikes just got stored in a shed, and well, it wasn't pretty when I dug them out, I'll say that. However, that got me interested in cycling again. And that fall, I bought a couple boxes of parts. There were two bikes with the parts in these boxes. They were the same model. A Mongoose Spectrum, which was honestly a low-end 26er full suspension bike. But the thing is I learned a lot assembling one good bike out of all those parts about how bikes work, why they work the way they do, and how to make them work. Sensing a theme here, right? Fast forward to November of 2018. I bought a Mongoose XR-Pro from Wal-Mart.com. Now I had first seen the XR-Pro on a YouTube channel called Kev Central. And this fella is well known for taking inexpensive big box bikes and upgrading them into really nice bikes. So I was quite interested in the XR-Pro. They were going at that time for $349, and then the tariffs came along. The price got jacked up to $379. And I thought, well, I don't want it that bad. I'll do it again later, maybe. But then they went on sale for $308. At $308, I could hardly say no. So I said yes. And I pulled the trigger, and it was delivered to the local, why am I doing that? It was delivered to the local Walmart and assembled, and I will go on record as saying, assembled very well. I've never had a bad experience at my local Walmart. So, over the following summer, I upgraded the living daylights out of that bike. The only thing that was left stock was the frame, the saddle, the wheels, and the brakes. I put a new handlebar, a new stem, two different sets of tires before I settled on the current Rapid Robs. And I upgraded the drivetrain from a 3x8 SRAM, incidentally, to a 1x10 SRAM using NX5 parts. No, X5 parts, excuse me, I misspeak. And I replaced the coil spring with a DNM air shock on the back. And up front I installed an RST aerial air fork. And I had a lot of fun with that bike. Now, I had a couple of my best crashes on that bike too. I mean, oh good lord. One time I was going down this little drop and my wheel got slightly off the track and into a rut, and I just went end over end. Very nearly, but not quite, broke my nose. That was probably the worst one, and don't tell my mom that story. What else? Oh, yes. So, over this past winter, being stored in an unheated shed, something went wonky, and the lockout lever on that RST fork no longer worked, and I was not able to repair it. So I put the stock Suntour XCT fork back on it. And you know what? It works fine. So here's the thing. I didn't ride Tavi an awful lot this past summer, even with the fork replaced. Instead, I was riding most of the time on my Specialized rock hopper. Now that's a bike that I really enjoy, and there is a link to it at the end of this video. Yeah, so like a lot of people, this past year I did a lot of work from home, beginning in, say, March or so. And then in July, I retired. And living alone, I was spending a lot of time alone. Not always good for the upstairs, if you catch my drift. So from work, I have this friend, and if you're watching, you know who you are. Now, out of respect for her privacy, I'm not going to say her name. And we got to riding together last year when I was leading lunchtime mountain bike rides at a nearby set of trails. So after we started doing all the work from home stuff, she contacts me one day and says, "Hey, Jim, let's go for a ride." And I said, "I'm there." I treat this a little lightheartedly just now, but the thing is, her friendship has been really, really good for me this past year. We ride when her schedule allows, because she and her husband and her kids, they have to juggle schedules, but she's been an awfully good friend, and I do appreciate that. So anyway, my friend and I are out riding one day last fall, and she happened to mention that she was thinking of looking into purchasing a full suspension bike. And I said, "Well, look, before you drop a lot of money on one, why don't you borrow the Mongoose for a while and see how you like it?" Well, she ended up liking it really well, so I continued to let her use it because I was content with my rock hopper. And I could tell when we were out riding that she was really enjoying that bike. I mean, you could just tell, you know. So when I recently purchased my Polygon Siskiu D5, a full suspension bike, I gave Tavi to my friend. And that's the happy ending to this story. Although I no longer have the bike, somebody has it who enjoys it and will continue to enjoy it. And it's not like I'm not going to see the bike again, because when we go riding, not only will I see my friend, I will see Tavi. So it's a win-win situation. Everybody's happy in the end, even the bike. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave me a thumbs up. And below left are links to the playlist for the Mongoose and a link to Specialized rock hopper. And as always, seriously, thanks for watching. I appreciate that when you do. So goodbye and have a great day.